How's it going, everybody? Rob here, back with another video, and, well, we are going to be doing another, reaction to content. We're looking at some content from Joon The King. This is the rise and fall of SRS, featuring, 10K Productions. So, this should be fun. So, I'm gonna go ahead and, I don't know why it's like 12 seconds in, so let's go ahead and look at this.
Reddit, an amalgamation of clashing ideologies and subreddits, with
Okay.
some more actively policing their ideologies, but few as infamous as Shit Reddit Says, and as
Shit Reddit says. I mean, I've noticed like with something like Reddit, it is like an exchange, like kind of like almost somewhat like, you know, X and, you know, so on. It is an exchange of ideas, of stories, so on. Though it seems like people are a lot more vocal on Reddit than they are on other platforms. I could be wrong on that, but that's what it seems. We get a lot of, I want to say we get a lot of, like, Reddit channels where they're reading stories from Reddit. So, anywho.
As all subreddits begin with an r/, the full name is r/shitredditsays, or SRS for short. SRS was a subreddit with modest beginnings, its growth in part due to it becoming a rallying point uniting members from other popular forums, such as the Something Awful forums, which is when it turned sour and weaponized against anyone that had opposing views. From systematically downvoting posts, to doxing the admin's Reddit, internet personalities, or anyone they deemed deserved it. Since then, it's established itself as one of the more extreme subreddits, leading to many shadow bans and pushback from the Reddit community.
Oh, Jesus.
Frustration turned their tactics against them, which led to their steady decline.
You people are canceled. Are the cancer of Reddit? Why are you all such assholes?
But leaving it at that will not do the story justice. This is the rise and fall of Shit Reddit Says.
Okay.
Like most subreddits that make up the entirety of Reddit, SRS was managed by a single person to get traction to their ideologies or content. In the case of SRS, it was created on September 28, 2010 by user Reddit_sucks, the sucks being stylized with an X instead of a CK. Initially, the subreddit itself was bland in design, with a simple description to welcome onlookers. Quote, "Redditors are hilarious, I just write down the shit they say." Unquote. For months, Reddit Sucks was the only dedicated poster, and through their posts made it clear that SRS's existence was one of satire designed to quote an odd comment and display it to a wider audience. As the way the site works, comments that receive the most likes or upvotes are pushed to the top, with the inverse happening to downvoted or disliked comments that would not regularly be seen unless delved for. But in the earlier months of 2011, user Reddit Sucks abruptly vanished. With their disappearance, the little traction the subreddit gained was lost, which is when user The Real Barack Obama, of course not the real Barack Obama, requested
Wait, why did they call him that? Call themselves that?
Control of the dead subreddit from the administrators of Reddit. And because of Reddit Sucks' inactivity, The Real Barack Obama was able to take control and shifted the subreddit to focus on more racist or sexist comments on Reddit. Though this was not the only forum following this format, as the Something Awful forums had a thread with the exact same premise, and it is believed that many of the mods selected by The Real Barack Obama originated from the Something Awful forum. Some mods more radical in their beliefs than others. Take for example Tiefs, who self-described as anti-white misandrist out to get paid, but this was mostly done for trolling purposes, as the subreddit began to politicize to more left-leaning views, though the posts were much less radical, calling out ludicrous comments by reposting them in full with the aggregated upvotes next to it. This new posting format saw both Something Awful and Reddit users flocking to SRS, amassing over 1,000 subscribers on August of 2011. Further growth can also be attributed to Something Awful's $10 account creation cost versus Reddit's free admission, making Reddit the optimal choice to browse for the average forumite. But this growth also became a challenge. because a small portion of SRS users that were rubbed the wrong way by the original posters of these comments began brigading or mass downvoting them. Few others harassing the original poster by replying to their comment or through their private messages, which was only made easier by screenshots of the original comments and the users that posted them alongside links to the post or comment put on display, prompting the creation of a new rule: don't touch the poop, or don't downvote any of the comments linked. But this was widely ignored. There were also collaborations that went against their own rules.
Okay.
Project Panda was meant to expose and remove controversial and distasteful subreddits by sending exposés to news publications and help accelerate the probability of banning a majority of them. Most of the subreddits Project Panda attempted to take down were created for the sole purpose of exchanging pictures, including but not limited to girls in school uniform, jailbait, upskirt, down blouse, beating women, and most importantly, creep shots.
Good lord.
Subreddit
unfreaking believable.
Yeah, no, that's not good. I mean, that's what got a certain particular YouTuber in trouble with a lot of with him exchanging, or at least like, you know, receiving, I should say, images of various women and people who he thought were women when in reality they weren't.
That hosted pictures of sexualized images of women without their consent. And special guest to talk more about this is 10K Bill.
Hey guys, 10K Bill here, content creator over at 10K Productions. This one was indeed one of the most controversial subreddits that gained enough infamy to be featured on several news networks. The moderators of these subreddits taking a fair amount of backlash, but none more controversial than Violent Acres, the creator of hundreds of subreddits, some tame and others with perverse intentions. Violent Acres' significance was that he was doxxed by Adrian Chen in an expose he had written for Gawker. The result of this chaos was a mixed bag of reaction.
Okay, hold on. Last week afternoon, I called Michael Brush. He was at the office of Texas Financial Services Company where he works as a programmer, and he was having a bad day. I had just told him on GChat that I had uncovered his identity as a notorious internet troll, Violent Acres, pronounced Violent Acres, okay.
Some Redditors were ecstatic that something had been done about these subreddits, others furious that publications had resorted to doxing or releasing an individual's personal information for the purpose of having them harassed.
Yeah,
few members of
that's
SRS
harassment's
in
bad.
The situation began threatening and doxing the moderators of the aforementioned subreddits.
Okay.
One of the most notable was user Creeper Comforts, a moderator of r/creepshots that reads like so. Hello, please don't go to the trouble of denying your identity.
Okay.
We have archived a great deal of evidence to confirm it. Today you have a choice between two options. Option 1 is shut down r/creepshots. Unmod all the other moderators, delete every submission, delete your own creepshots from Imgur. Leave only one post up, a public apology from you to the women of Toronto and to women in general for what you've been doing. The apology should acknowledge that r/creepshots is a vile subreddit because it normalizes perverted behavior. After a day or so, make this account moderator, make the subreddit private, remove yourself, and delete the Creeper Comforts account. Never post creepy pictures online again, just don't take creepy pictures anymore. Option 2. Use your imagination.
Use your
We advise
imagination.
You choose option 1. Clean up your mess, change your behavior, and move on with your life.
Basically, it's an ultimatum. Like, they're not giving him an option 2.
You have 48 hours to decide. Hey man, thanks for having me on. Come check out my channel 10K Productions after you're done here.
And thank you, Bill, for joining us here. Anyways, further doxings issued by malignant members of SRS followed a similar format and demands. Other subreddits and the administrators of Reddit caught wind of this and claimed SRS was overstepping boundaries and began to push back. As a month after the start of Project Panda created this post on SRS to spite those involved. It should be noted that this post gained well over 3 times more upvotes than Project Panda.
Jesus!
With the surge of attention and growth, SRS began to spread its wings with the adoption of a large blue bird as mascot and established various other subreddits, most including SRS somewhere within the name. SRS users also began branding themselves as birds, or BRD for short, and alongside SRSers is how a majority of subreddits would address them. Mainly other newly established subreddits meant to expose SRS for their wrongdoings. The two of the largest being SRS Sucks and Anti-SRS, which are known to be extreme within their own right.
Okay.
But it did not take long for the moderators of the subreddits to receive threatening messages from SRS. SRS also targeting the admins of Reddit, which stomached
Reddit admins of the time in... It's mostly a different group now. Really did not like SRS. In attempting to force the admins to take their side, they would dox them, send bad shit to their family members, etc. It was really bad. Despite this, the admins never cracked, but they really hated them.
SRS for the most part, but eventually had enough, and secretly neutered the subreddit by banning many troublesome SRSers. A large portion of the band deleted their accounts and created a new one to make it seem like they decided to delete their account instead of receiving a ban. But the administrators of Reddit had had enough, and warned the moderators of SRS to control the users in their subreddit from brigading and doxing, or SRS would be removed from the website, which mostly succeeded until SRS became more covert with their doxing operations. These operations being largely counterintuitive, as the only progress that SRS made from these threats was helping grow the very subreddits that went against them. It was not just the doxing that infuriated onlookers, but also the brigading that went against their own rules, as some comments would see a large drop in points the moment it made the front page of SRS. And due to the attention SRS was getting, further changes were made to the rule set of SRS, the mods proudly now deeming it to be a circle jerk, where any opposition to their views were met with swift bans, which was a common issue that uninitiated members faced, that and the lack of free speech, with taglines vigorously promoted by the subreddit going like so, quote, "Free speech is a disease, and we're the cure."
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's always funny when you have like the whole like this whole like because I will say I want to say it's prevalent to what's going on now in politics and stuff. Rights for me, not for thee. We can speak however we want, but you can't speak against us. It's that kind of ideology at this point with a lot of people.
Unquote. Certain words always resulted in the removal of a comment or a ban. Not always per rules, but also sometimes through the abuse of mod powers, like in the case of Lorelei, a trans woman that moderated various subreddits including SRS, infamously known for her irrational behavior, consisting of bans and...
Oh, I'm kind of wondering, like, what's some of the things what this person has been doing?
Deletion of any comment mentioning her name. Like this comment from a moderator that was replying to a previously deleted comment seen on r/anonymous.
Alright, your comment was deleted and you were banned by Lorelei. I reversed these actions because after looking at mod logs, it seems that like Lorelei likes to go around deleting comments that mention her, which is not against the rules, and that shit is censorship, and therefore not okay on an anonymous board, especially without consulting with others.
Quote, "Your comment was deleted and you were banned by Lorelei. I reversed these actions because after looking at mod logs, it seems Lorelei likes to go around deleting comments that mention her, which is not against the rules, and that shit is censorship, and therefore not okay on an anonymous board, especially without consulting with others."
I mean, I want to say it's like the same with like the same behavior that we've seen on YouTube and stuff like that, where you have people that they do something. Like normally it's like you have a content creator, they do something, and then people start talking about it, and then immediately they start to try to shut down the people that spoke about them in the first place. We've had people like Onision, Quantum TV. Heck, I think Daddy05 too, where he tried to shut people down. But various content creators that, you know, clearly did things wrong, and in the end tried to, or made attempts to, shut people down in what they said, which is utterly ridiculous, especially when they do something illegal like make false copyright claims.
Unquote. But the other mods on SRS looked past her transgressions until she accidentally doxed a 16-year-old, which consequently saw her banned from SRS. And after many people tried to dox her back, she deleted her account and hasn't been noticeably active on Reddit since. But this style of backlash would not prevent the next wave of doxings. In 2014, SRS had 57,000 subscribers, which was further fed in the height of the mess that was the Gamergate controversy. SRS became ever so radical, and their policing of their ideologies grew more intense. Their postings were no longer done for satirical intention, but instead to gawk at or harass the original poster of the comment that very own intentions may have been satirical and not serious. They also received much flack for being against misogyny or prejudice against women, while also being self-promoted misanthropes or having prejudice against men. But again, this was most likely done for trolling purposes. With their radicalization increasing, so did their harassment and doxing, this time including several high-profile YouTubers and other sorts of personalities. On September 23, 2014, a pastebin was leaked and done so in support of Zoe Quinn, one of the centers of attention of Gamergate, containing the personal information of Zoe Quinn's alleged acts, and also commentator Milo Yiannopoulos, actor Adam Baldwin, and YouTube personalities Boogie2988, Jontron, and Shoeonhead, with the reasons behind the doxings confusing many as most of
Crime, Odd, Boxy Obsession, endorsing Gamergate. Okay, hold on. So going back.
purposes.
I want to see what this
says.
says.
With radicalization increasing, so did the harassment and doxing, this time including several high-profile YouTubers and other sorts of personalities. On September 23, 2014, a
Okay, table of contents. Anron, Gioni, Boogie, Jontron, Adam Baldwin, Milo, Shoeonhead
was leaked and done so in support of Zoe Quinn, one of the centers of attention of Gamergate, containing the
Crime published a whiny baby blog about Zoe Quinn and got an internet lynch mob against her. Okay, Boogie helped encourage the idiots harassing the women.
Personal information of Zoe Quinn's alleged acts and all
misusing his internet fame to harass women. Okay, how did he do that? John Jafari.
Also, commentator Milo Yiannopoulos, actor Adam.
Yeah, using their full names. Adam Baldwin, coining the term Gamergate using celebrity to spread misogyny.
Baldwin,
oh my god!
And
seriously,
YouTube personalities Boogie.
Okay. I know I already listened to this part, but I just want to see what they say. Milo, crime, egging on Gamergate harassment for his own personal gain. Okay.
2988, Jontron,
and
Shoeonhead.
Shoeonhead, odd, boxy obsession, endorsing Gamergate. So basically, their crime was having a difference of opinions. That's basically what, in the eyes of these shitheads, that was their only crime. Was they? Granted, I mean, I'm gonna say this: there were bad actors in Gamergate. I mean, their main focus was the fact that it was for gaming ethics. And if I remember correctly, one of the biggest things that they went against or talked about was the fact that, you know, there was, in terms of like Zoe Quinn, there was something very unethical involving Zoe Quinn. That, of course, being the allegedly her going around and allegedly giving favors to journalists to promote her game. And she allegedly spent the night with them. Allegedly. So, anyway.
Behind the dog scenes, confusing many as most of the accused had very little connection to Gamergate or the harassment of Zoe Quinn.
Yeah.
Readers also noticed that the pay spin ended in a threat. Quote, "Let this be a warning. Don't fuck with Zoe or Anita anymore or the list grows."
Zoe Quinn is unethical, and Anita Sarkeesian has always been the most divisive individual that has and I want to say has negatively affected the gaming community. And it doesn't help too that, again, I think I've said it before and I'll say it again. This is an individual that has been proven to not know what she's talking about, and overall has lied and has been disingenuous about the gaming community. So, anyway.
Unquote. The docs credited to SRS with the final tagline, quote, "Dispense your male tears here," unquote. There is some speculation that this was done by someone running a campaign to smear SRS, but that claim has been hardly proved. This, like previous doc scenes, gave much negative attention to SRS, and with tensions rising, saw brigading on the subreddit itself. Posts denouncing SRS on SRS now a less than rare occurrence. In fact, the top non-pinned post overall is one cursing the subreddit. And with SRS being perceived as infamous, 2015 was the year of its stagnation. Though it had grown to over 70,000 subscribers, its active member base that had been around a consistent 200 to 300 began to drop drastically. And as public perception changed on it, onlookers were more reluctant to join. And those inactive,
yeah, a lot of people were seeing through the bullshit, realizing that it was a bad subreddit.
Less likely to return. Also, as the political turmoil in the US slowly died down in 2016, so did activity on SRS. Either their brigading stopped or was counteracted by visitors upvoting the displayed comments. They had finally lost their foothold and weight they once used to carry. Though there have been accusations of doxings in the past couple years, such action is expected for any politically charged subreddit, and it was minuscule in comparison to the campaigns they once spearheaded. Now entering 2017 and the years following was nothing but further decline. The mods, one by one, became inactive, leaving less than half actively moderating the subreddit. What remains on SRS is a graveyard of hate threats directed against the birds in its overall top post, with an average of one post a day, not including the daily.
Redditor justifies man beating transgender woman using woman's bathroom. But how was the guy supposed to read this particular trans vagrant as trans? Or would you not expect a man to be concerned with a non-trans male person following his wife into a public rest stop bathroom?
Chat thread, SRS is now effectively a shell of its former self, and has diminished in its controversies only to be matched by other politically charged subreddits. In review, a subreddit dedicated to airing out the distasteful sectors of Reddit for the purpose of satire became the very thing it was attempted to staunch, with its members, whether for trolling purposes or not, attempted to police those who they deemed toxic by committing the worst sins of the internet, which led to equally destructive retaliation, resulting in its decline. Though one thing is certain, it did succeed in its objective of exposing some of the most toxic people of Reddit, not only through their exposure of deplorable comments, but also by merely existing.
Okay. Special thanks. So, I'm gonna say this was really good. Really good. This is one of his older videos, so, a good look into, something like Reddit, or, a class of, I guess a certain group involving Reddit and social media. So, anywho, good lord, this was a fun one, and I did not expect the towards the end where they're talking about the stuff with Gamergate and Nina Sarkeesian and so on. But I don't have anything else I need to say. It's always, I think the biggest takeaway is the fact that, you know, you have individuals that, you know, that went out of their way to try to dox and harass people for having a different opinion, which honestly I think is ridiculous. That's how that's the mindset for a lot of people nowadays, where if you feel like you're justified, if you feel like your goals are in the right, or your heart is in the right place, even though to some extent, like, logically it isn't, you think that you are justified to do whatever you want, to hurt anyone you want, just because, again, they don't believe in the same set of morals that you do. So, anyway, I think I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Truly appreciate it. If you guys can, please like, comment, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. If you guys want to follow us on social media, it's all in the description down below, as well as check out our daily content in the weekly podcast. With that being said, this is Novakast signing off. Have a good one. Take care. And I'll see you guys next video.